Welcome to the Common Sense podcast, where we apply common sense to everyday issues. So today I've got with me Silva, and we've got some exciting topics.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
It's lovely to be here again. So excited.
Yeah, likewise. It's been a while.
It's been a while. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's get into it. This thing of masculine women, as they say.
I'm so fed up of this subject, but it needs to be discussed. And when I mean fed up of it, I don't think we spoke about it enough within context, the right context.
The right context, yeah.
So can I elaborate on that?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Right. Everyone and their grandma is doing a podcast, as we know, including us. Yeah.
Of course.
But it's now a constant conversation piece with everyday males as well as those on media as to why women are more resonating in a masculine, living in a masculine, wanting to be men. Now, for those who are heterosexual women, let me make sense of that. I can't see. Let me just stick to that part.
Course,
yeah? Okay. Firstly, I've asked a few men, if you were coming across women, if a woman's directly just masculine, then that's a different conversation.
Of course.
But I definitely resonate with that, and I definitely have my moments where I'm in and out of that vein as well, even though I look totally feminine and I can be feminine, but I also have that energy. But when is that triggered?
Yeah.
When does that come out in me? Yeah. So let's talk about if I'm in the presence of a man. All right. Let's say someone I'm with, which I probably wouldn't if he's not very masculine. But let's just say you're with them, you're dating, it's the early stages. Let's say he felt like I was presenting myself too masculine, which has never been said to me within a relationship. But let's say that. I would already know that for me to display those traits, I don't view him as a masculine.
Yeah.
So if men are coming across a barrage of women who are responding with that energy, are you a masculine male? I'm just asking, are you a masculine male? If there's no yin without yang, how is your woman taking on your genital behavior?
Yeah.
If you have it. That's number one.
Yeah.
So I do believe that a lot of women behave that way because it's lacking in whatever resource, whether that's in the home, raising children by yourself, or whether that is within relationships, or also when you feel like you are in defense mode.
Yeah.
When you're in defense mode, the most feminine woman will come out like a guy.
True.
Those are a few examples right now.
Yes. Because
What's your thoughts?
I mean, I agree with you because I always say that I don't think that, from my perspective as a woman, the only instances where I feel like, okay, Nana, you're doing a bit more and you're being more masculine is when I don't believe in the leadership of the person that I'm with. I think that's what it comes down to. I think most women will submit if they believe in the person that they're with and they believe in your leadership. Like, for instance, I just having this conversation with one of my friends and he was like, he asked his wife to give him £10,000 and his wife just didn't blink an eye, just gave him the money. And his boys were like, oh, like, my wife would never do that. Okay. Like, she would never just give me. And they were envious of that situation because we were just having a conversation as boys. And I was like, and I told him, I was like, do you know why that is? And I'm like, it's because she knows and believes that if she gives you £10,000, you're not going to squander that money.
Is that, okay, but can I ask you a question? You see, if you know her and that's the reason why, I would take that. But for somebody else, it could be nothing to do with that. Yeah. It can be they know they're going to go and gamble it, but because they're so in love with the person and they blonde in here, of course.
See, from my perspective, right? If I know, because there are people that you date and you know where their strengths and weaknesses
are. Oh my God, yeah.
So if I know that this area is your weakness, I'm sorry, I'm not entrusting you with that.
But that's because you value the coin.
Okay. Yeah, I do. And then, funnily enough, like we're having this conversation, the reason why this person made that statement of, I can't believe your wife did this was because his wife wouldn't give him this money. He was like, my wife would never do that. And it was because he had a gambling issue.
Is he in denial? Is he Stevie Wonder right now?
So it was funny because I made this cut-off statement just by saying that his wife probably doesn't believe in his leadership. He's probably done something which makes her think that, you know, I can't entrust him with this amount of money.
Do you think that...
And then he just said, oh, actually, yeah, he does kind of like...
Do you think that's about leadership though? So let's look at that. You've got why women exude masculine energy and I'm only covering it because we're going to expand on this because
Yes.
it's so widely spoken about,
yeah.
and it's a barrage of men that have the issue. And I'm
Yes.
asking these men, if you are truly the masculine, why does she feel the need to be that way?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because me, as much as people see me in a certain light, when I'm in the presence of a masculine man, I turn into a 16-year-old. You all have never seen that because you ain't the masculine man. I told my brother this other day, was talking as siblings, and I'm like, you see how I go on?
Yeah.
I said, I don't behave that way.
When, of course.
He knows, he would be aware that it's in me.
Yeah.
But for him, it's more comical because he doesn't see those signs.
Yeah. Because you wouldn't need to.
I wouldn't need to. So for those I've dated who've seen that, there's a reason why I've left.
Okay.
I don't do pansy men. Yeah.
Okay.
So the name is quite derogatory term, but it's the pansy men that you are a man. You want this feminine woman. You keep begging and pleading and podcasting us to be submissive to what?
But yeah, because I think
to what are we submitting to?
Submission to, yeah.
That's a whole nother. There's submission here, and then we're talking about masculine, but it can flow into both.
I mean, yes, because I think the whole idea is that as a woman, you're meant to be in your femininity, and you're meant to be submissive, and you're meant to do all these things.
Submissive to what though? Let's identify that, because it's getting out of control out here on media. It's getting really out of control.
Yeah, because I don't know what it is. I think because I can look at it from perspective of like. Because I think when I think of from a Christian perspective,
right? Okay,
we have a lot of people that flip it. That the Bible demands that wives you're supposed to submit to your husbands.
Submit to what though? To be very clear.
Yeah,
because the public don't. They've
lost. But then there was somebody that made a very very valid point, right? I don't even from a biblical perspective, right? One, the call to submission is not a call for me to submit to my boyfriend.
Okay, let's repeat that, please.
The call to submission is not for me to submit to my boyfriend.
But to who?
To my husband.
Okay.
And I always say, even before you get to that part.
There you go. Okay.
I always say that, but we're also supposed to submit to one another in our walk in Christ anyway.
But for those who don't subscribe at all to marriage, let's expand beyond that, because not everyone's religious based.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And that's important to state, because there's a lot of, the conscious community who does not subscribe to religion. Because we're already aware of the difference between spirituality and religion.
Of course, yeah.
I'll leave that there.
Yeah.
So for those, and that's why I have to expand, because not everybody is chasing wedding bells.
I agree.
And I think that's a whole nother, And not everybody's chasing religion. Yeah. So let's say for those now who subscribe to just union. Because union could be with thyself as well as with another person. If we go deeper, the greatest union has to be with thyself. No? Yeah? So we're talking about just union. Again, I said to you earlier, if we're going to touch on submission, raised in a family where my parents are still married to this day, I believe well over 50 years.
Yeah.
I've never heard my parents or any other person in that category speak of submission.
No.
What is it about this generation of constant going on the podcast and women who don't submit? And what I'm saying to you is this. That would be a natural engagement. Naturally, you would fall into your role, or you would have discussed what roles you play.
Yeah.
So for the modern day man to be chasing a submissive woman who is also a back home traditional woman, but she's a Western woman, you're making no sense.
Of course, no, I agree.
You're making no sense at all.
I think
whilst you're not a back home boy, traditional. So how do you maintain that traditional woman if you're not even traditional?
If you're not traditional, because on the flip side, they also want to go 50-50. They want to go 50-50.
It's just control.
So it's like, how do you then? You can't reconcile. You can't pick and choose which part of tradition you want. This is something that I've
Please let them know.
I'm not going to stop saying.
It's ridiculous.
Yes, fair enough. Carve what relationship you want and what works for you, because at the end of the day, it's your relationship.
Absolutely.
By all means, do what works for you.
Absolutely.
But then sometimes I sit back, and when I listen to all these different arguments, I'm like, okay, you want a submissive wife, or you want a submissive girlfriend, or you want a submissive woman in your life. Sometimes they don't even want them to be. They have no titles.
It's ridiculous.
So you want somebody who is submissive. And when they talk about submission, for a lot of people, I think when you actually dig deep on what submission is, I want them to cook, clean. So you want a maid.
Oh my God, I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you said it. And remember, what's important for me to stress here, that sometimes there's no wrong or right. As long as two consenting adults has had an agreement.
And they're okay with it, by all means.
If you meet someone that says, I would like to meet someone that cooks at least 3 times a week, that at least, I mean, I'm giving you a rough example because that's another subject where men keep talking about, this is the podcast, submission, cooking, 50-50.
Yep.
Modern day men. Again, I was raised with a mother and a father still married to this day. Not everyone's that blessed to have that. There's nothing wrong with the opposite, but I'm saying. So the grounding that I've seen doesn't come from this.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get
and
it.
so the fact that they're chasing this role that the majority of them have never lived and never even seen, that's what's interesting. It seems to be a lot, not all of those who has never had that example that's trying to chase this.
Yeah.
But what does it look like for you?
Is that because perhaps they have an idealized view?
That's my point. You've never lived it.
Of what a family should be. And they feel like...
And there's nothing wrong with that,
and
by the way.
Which is why I find strange, because actually then their experience is at odds with what they're striving for, because you've for a lot of people, if you've had very like independent and strong women in your family, how then do you then reconcile the fact that you then all of a sudden want... I think it's a power play too.
It's for me, without media, a lot of this wouldn't be coming into play.
Right. So you think people are just getting on podcasts and they're just saying things just to...
No, I don't think they're just saying.
Do you think they're living?
I think that we are very aware that we're living in a disposable climate. You know that word I love to use here for everything. Yeah. And so with that being said, I don't think they're just going on podcasts and just making stuff up. There's a large barrage of women that they are meeting who are the opposite of what we're talking about. But what I'm saying is, okay, number one, there's nothing wrong with going for what you want. We made that very clear.
No.
Yeah? But it's a trending pattern. That's why I look at it differently. It's a trending pattern of men that are not even princes keep talking about looking for a queen. That's the part that I find confusing. Now, there's nothing wrong with not being a prince and wanting a queen. But how do you obtain, keep, and nurture her when you find her? That's what I'm talking about.
Because you haven't done the inner work.
You don't have to be the same as what you're looking for.
No, of course not.
But it's like me saying, I want a man who's got 10 bachelors in this. When he comes, can I stimulate that side of him? How do I obtain that when I meet him? So wanting it is easy, the desire. Yeah. But how do you nurture
once you have it and
appreciate and obtain it? So going back to now, the submission, I think there's nothing wrong with women that... It's the fact that it's so spoken about. It's not natural.
Yeah. Because it's
not natural.
I've never really thought about it, like in the sense of like when I because I always say, if I look at my parents' relationship, my grandparents' relationship, because I spent a lot of time with my grandparents.
That's so nice.
Yeah, because they raised me first part of my life. So I'm like thinking about it. I don't think there's ever ever had struggled. I never saw my grandparents argue.
This is what I'm saying. This generation's gone mad. They've literally lost the plot.
There was never like a thing of like submission. I always remember this, and I'm never going to forget this. Every single day at a certain time, my grandfather and my grandma would eat together at the same time. And she would sit there with him, they would serve and they would eat together. It was always just the two of them.
That's very cute.
And it was never, bearing in mind that she was also very busy. She was running like a midwifery in a school. It was never a thing of...
Career-minded woman as well.
Yeah, so I just can't... I really find it weird with this obsession, because naturally, I feel like if you're with somebody and you love them, you just do certain things, from my perspective.
I think it's a toxic level of control. That's all I'm seeing
I don't think you ever get to that point where you're like, oh yes, I'm not going to do X, Y, Z, and that you feel like you need to force somebody.
When did that become a trend?
Because it just doesn't make sense.
And interestingly enough, from my observation of myself and many others, us as women naturally become a certain way when you're with a certain caliber of man.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know many people that can say, I've got a man who behaves like a man. And a woman wants to walk around holding her bits like she's a man, and not actually fold in areas that is necessary. And a wise person said, whilst we're asking them to submit, men need to know when to submit also, and allow her to take the wheel when she plays her role.
Yeah, of course.
But we don't hear about that part.
No, but I think it's also because it's not really
You know,
I think when I hear the submission conversation, it's never really about working together as a team or there's something working collaboratively in a relationship.
There you go.
Because that's what it is, isn't it? It's very much, these are my needs and this is what I want. And no, that does that.
And you become unworthy and uncrownable and unattractive.
Exactly.
Like, I mean,
and actually, that's not what it is. It's about, at the end of the day, listening to what your partner is saying, right? And then both of you deciding that, okay, yes, fair enough, this might be what I want. But because you then listen, because I'm like, there's so many instances where, fair enough, something that I want or something that I like doing might not be, somebody will tell you, okay, yeah, when you do X, Y, Z, it makes me feel this way.
Absolutely.
And because I value the relationship, I will then adjust my behavior accordingly.
Absolutely. But you must then have respected the person. Because, you know, one thing I would say is every man of probably every background in culture, religion, status, they all seem to want at least two things they have in common. You know what they are? Obviously, respect and loyalty. No matter what colour, background, cultural background, religious background, age, respect and loyalty. But you're even going to have the male that has done the opposite to earn that, and it will still leave you because you didn't give them respect and loyalty. You can bust my ass and you still want respect and loyalty. So what I'm saying is, you see, so I've got to look at it like, I do think we're in a time where just enjoy media for what it is and know when to switch it off. Because you're going to have the same people. I mean, I'm in touch with a lot of different people that do media. And most of their time they're speaking about the same subjects. And the question is, what role do you play to maintain that when you get it? And why, if it's so inaccessible, like, why are you running this down? Did you not see that generationally as something natural? I've never had a man to ask me, submit. That would be weird. Like, why are you, like, it's crazy. I kid you not, fellas, and let me just say this. When you are in full alignment with someone that you are with and you are present and you're on the same chapter, okay, or even same book, slightly different chapters, you won't have to have these conversations. And even the most so-called masculine presented woman who's heterosexual will not act like that because you are playing your role. Yeah, but what is that role? It's going to be different according to age and cultural background, even maybe racial backgrounds. I said, I only hear these type of conversations from Caribbean men and African men. So, and I'm around a lot of different people. I don't hear. Yeah, and it's also a status thing. I have never heard an established man protest so much the way these men are protesting, either in real life or podcast. An established man, again, I often hear, you know what, or I have often heard in the past, I'm just a relaxed, chilled person. I just want to, live a calm life. And this is a common thing, live a calm life. And as long as I got respect and loyalty, I'm fine. I've never heard, when do you cook? How much times can you cook? These are from unestablished individuals. And there's nothing wrong because I'm not established. But I'm just saying, I don't hear this caliber of conversation from established men. Don't do your own research.
Of course, no. I
Please do your own research.
I think purely because, do you know what it is, right? And I don't know, just thinking about it, where we're talking about it being a status thing.
Definitely.
Is it because, right, when we look at it, like I always say, of course, there's a hierarchy.
They want mummies.
Yeah, there's a hierarchy, isn't there? So when I think as a man, when you feel like perhaps I'm more at the bottom of the hierarchy.
Okay, go on, talk to me.
And in order for me to exert my power and to feel that, okay, I am in this position whereby basically, yes, I might be at the bottom of the barrel, but I'm better than you, my partner, or I need to exert some. So it's just a form for
is
me
it better or is it control?
Control, yeah. I guess because on the pecking order, you feel like you have no control and you have no power.
Absolutely.
So you do these things so that actually, no, I have somebody else that I can exercise this control and power over.
Do you know what's interesting?
And I think that's basically what it is.
I believe you're right, but here's what I do also truly believe. I don't think they've actually psychologicalized it to that.
You don't think they've
I think it's a fact what you've just said, but sometimes we've not had that process.
You've not had that process.
But you look at the psychology of it.
Behind it.
And that's the reason why if a woman doesn't listen, for some, they'll get a clap for that. Which means you get physical because you're not listening to me.
Yeah, you're not listening to me.
It's control.
Yeah,
we all want a level of control. Let's not kid ourselves here. But I think that, you know what? keep that to the bedroom, okay? I mean, you're going to get on just fine, okay? Yeah. And when we're out the bedroom, be sure to be acting in your masculine and you have no issues. But having lots of dialogue and jumping on podcasts and exuding your opinions without actually living that, that will work for a lot of us women. You know why? Because we're living in a media-driven time where women are like, I cook, I clean, I'm worthy. Do pick me, and he's gonna love her. I've been on numerous lives, even in the last month, within the last month, and it's a similar pattern. And the men will be in the inbox saying, "Crown her, protect her with your life." The minute she mentions she's cooked, she cleans, and raises 5 children, and I thought that was the pattern's interesting.
But it's quite interesting that in your quest for a partner,
right,
you're only. It's actually from my perspective, very concerning that you're looking at the fact that cooking and cleaning is a prerequisite purely because I'm not to be. Yeah, cooking and cleaning is great, but you can pay someone to cook and clean. Really, the things
not the sexist men we're talking about. Oh, you don't understand. You just said my point. You just said my point.
You're like,
and what's
they don't have the money, they can't afford it.
You know why that's a fact? What you just said.
Yeah.
What's interesting is now. Those men who say they're ready and prepared for women, they will put on some of their profiles, I can cook and clean for myself.
Yeah.
Why do you feel the need to say that? That must be saying the opposite is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
A lot of men want to be babies.
They do want to be babies.
And that's because of also sometimes how you've been raised.
Yes.
You were never rebuked or put in line.
Yeah.
And sometimes you never had that nurturing of maybe a mum or whatever. And that's why you have this, you want your partner to be like, listen, there's only one place I'm going to be breastfeeding you. And again, out of the bedroom, I won't be doing that. Okay?
I wasn't expecting that.
As in nurturing.
Yeah, I get that.
Let's keep this thing real.
As
weird as that may sound,
yeah.
Does men not caress the boobs and suck on it for all night long? You go back to basics. You guys go back to basics. You do suck on the breast.
Yes.
Don't let me get psychological on you.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That is actually a fact, unless you're not a breast man.
Yeah.
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 But other than that, out the bedroom, there's not. Hello. This is where you become a man.
Yes. No.
But I understand that not every female is womanly, and not every male is masculine. We have to accept that and stop beating each other up, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not every woman is womanly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's
not every male is masculine. Is that because they didn't see that growing up, or is it just not in their ability or DNA? We must accept that. But I feel like we are beating each other up so much.
You're not feminine enough.
Women are clapping back. Men are now got the mics and overdoing it and overspilling like women. It's just getting a bit out of hand. And for me, like I said to a male acquaintance who does media, I'm becoming less interested in having these dialogues if it's not getting close to solutionary. Yeah. Recycling the same things is not getting us anywhere. Maybe we should start with acceptance and alignment and what that looks like. Yeah. Why are we dating people that are not in our vibrational alignment and then trying to put them in a box, tell them they're not a woman, they're not in their feminine, he's too feminine? I mean, there's a lot of feminine guys.
There are loads of people out there who would who you meet who are more than happy and willing to do the things that you're seeking.
Oh my God, yeah.
So then that's something that I also find very strange.
No, but if it's not in you, I mean, being a masculine, it's not something you learn from a book.
Yeah, no, I get that and I understand, but I think the point that I'm trying to make, I was just piggybacking off of the point that you made, that finding people that are in alignment with you. Yeah. And I'm like, if you ever feel the need that, okay, I want somebody that, let's say, cooks, clean, does this, does that, and you meet a woman and she tells you, well, I don't cook and I don't clean because
then a traditional man wouldn't want her, or the modern day man wouldn't want her.
Exactly, which is fine.
But the established man wouldn't give a damn because he gets maids and stuff anyway.
Yes, so then you would just, I'm like, you would just keep it moving, wouldn't you?
But that's my point.
But then I don't understand why you then spend an entire lifetime on podcast talking about it.
Please, I don't get it. But can I just add two what I think I do feel is valuable things? Yeah. Whilst a barrage of modern day men, let's start with the modern day. Men are talking about women who don't cook, women who don't this. Not one of you has spoken about what you provide Because, like, the green banana, I didn't pick it from the tree in the back garden.
No.
How many of them are talking about
they go hand
the
in hand.
foundation of actually we're at a certain level of our relationship and I provide financially and she doesn't mind doing the cooking. Yeah? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I have never come across an established man who talks like that. Maybe they do exist, but I've not met them.
Yeah.
And if you look at Hollywood, a lot of these women don't cook. They have chefs. And none of they men complain, baby. Should we switch on the TV? Should we just test that theory?
Because once again, you have the means to outsource it, don't you?
How many celebrities do you see, which you've seen? I'm sure they cook.
Yeah.
But they often have chefs, cooks.
Yeah.
Right. I don't hear these men complaining. It's a status thing I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Very clear.
No.
I'm not subscribing to what they keep trying to enforce. Date your type. Date your type. Simple.
And with that, that's the end of it. Date your type. That's it from Silver and I today. Just keep watching. On the next episode, we're going to have this discussion again, but really just to get a male perspective on it. Really, let's see what the men think about this. Whether they demand submission from their women.